right, here we go. So joining me is Republican candidate for the 7th Congressional District, Tom Barrett. Thank you, Mr. Barrett, for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
First question for you. We have the sitting vice president coming to Lansing Township. Everybody says Lansing, but it's Lansing Township, to speak to voters, and particularly the UAW. What's your take on that? How important is that, both for our community, but also broadly in terms of the political scene?
Sure. Well, it's important to remember that the vice president is coming here not as the sitting vice president. She's coming here as the candidate for president herself. And really, she's coming to speak to the UAW because she sees the vulnerability of working people coming over to the Republican Party, frustrated by failed Democratic policies, whether that's the high cost of living, high home heating costs, electric vehicle mandates that are going to systematically undo the manufacturing jobs that are here in mid-Michigan. I mean, Shawn Fain calls these electric vehicle mandates and these runaway incentive deals and corporate welfare programs a taxpayer-funded race to the bottom. So I think she sees that vulnerability. She sees working people leaving the Democratic Party and being far more open, whether that's to President Trump in his campaign or whether it's in my race for Congress or any of the other Republicans on the ballot. We are now the party of working people who go out and earn a living and simply want to be able to keep more of their own money, put their kids in schools that they can have faith and confidence in, keep more of the money they work hard for, have a secure community and a secure country, and those are the things that I'm running on and that President Trump is looking to bring as well.
Okay. So I have to ask this question because it's kind of follow up to that. Look, we're building an EV plant out here. You voted against, I believe, some of the incentives there, correct, for MEDs?
Well, the incentives that were passed were done about 3 years ago, and the promises that were made were not really kept. I mean, you've seen since then, Michigan has spent over $1 billion in electric vehicle incentive corporate welfare subsidies, and for that we've created 200 jobs. That was a report done by Bridge Magazine. That's not a report done by the Cato Institute or something like that. So that's $5 million per job. So while Americans and Michiganders and people in this district are struggling to pay their groceries, struggling to get by with their monthly expenses, rent and a mortgage and housing costs and grocery bill and everything else, we're paying out these major incentives to some of the biggest global corporations in the world. And then on top of that, we're luring in Chinese-based with high loyalty to the Chinese Communist Party, incentives, $175 million in state tax money going to Goshen to locate, just outside of Big Rapids. My own opponent is on record having signed a non-disclosure agreement with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation involving this secret Project Elephant that would bring in this company to our state with severe national security concerns. So again, we're giving $175 million to a Chinese corporation when Americans in my district are struggling to pay their groceries and their housing costs. Why in God's name would we give $175 million to our largest global adversary when that's happening? So you gotta look at the total incentive deals of what we've paid out and what we've received for it. So far, we have very, very few jobs to point to that we can actually say have benefited from this. And meanwhile, we've invited in all these national security threats and concerns. Just a couple of weeks ago, the FBI announced indictments against 5 Chinese nationals who were masquerading as college students at the University of Michigan who were picked up at Camp Grayling, the military installation where I spent countless hours of my life. I've literally landed a helicopter at the exact place where these Chinese nationals, Chinese spies, were detected, and they were spying on not just our military there, but it was a joint training exercise with the Taiwan military as well. So we know that they're trying to do this. Leon Panetta, Barack Obama's own CIA director, said this Goshen battery plant would be used for espionage against the United States just down the road at Camp Grayling, and now we're already beginning to see that.
So transitioning a little bit, where you've been hit with some complaints from the Congressional Black Caucus about some advertisements, one that ran in a black newspaper.
Yeah, it was a single, it was an error. It was absolutely a mistake. To be totally candid with you, I didn't even see the ad. It was, something that a designer created, and the designer put the wrong date on it, and then it was not adequately proofread by my campaign before it was posted in the publication. We've issued certainly an apology and a correction for that. We've put the correct date on the remaining advertising that we had scheduled in the publication. We've written an op-ed explaining what took place. This was entirely unintentional and entirely something that, you know, I feel horrible about, but is not something that I can, you know, undo once it's happened. I will say that we have made a tremendous amount of outreach to the Black community. I've done doors in communities here in Lansing. We're advertising on urban radio. We have direct mail going out to constituencies in the Black community to try and really improve what Republicans often fail to do, which is really make significant inroads in the Black community. I've done a number of community events as well. This is something I take very seriously, and I'm, you know, very disappointed in what happened, but it was entirely unintentional.
The other thing is you have Speaker of the House Johnson coming to Lansing tomorrow. How big is that for your campaign?
Yeah, well, it is a big deal. It's something we're excited about. This district, the 7th Congressional District, really hubbed around the city of Lansing, is ranked as the most competitive congressional race in America from sea to shining sea. This is the race that matters the most. So voters here should really be proud to cast their vote knowing that they have such an impact on the direction of our country. Whether that's we're going to go down the failed path of electric vehicle mandates, less manufacturing jobs in our state, higher inflation, higher costs of living, an open border, and less secure neighborhoods, or are we going to turn the corner and elect new leadership? Certainly that's why I'm running. Fundamentally, I feel like families like mine aren't having our voices heard in Washington today. My wife and I are raising 4 young kids right here in this district, and we see the same challenges that every other family does. That's the voice that I want to bring to Washington on behalf of the constituents here in mid-Michigan. I take it very seriously that the job I'm running for says representative in Congress. I want to be a representative of the people here in this community and in this district and take their interests, their concerns, and their voice to Washington, D.C. That's why I'm running. We're excited to have the Speaker of the House coming here tomorrow, and we're going to have a lot more to go in these final 2.5 weeks till the election.
What do you hope Speaker Johnson's appearance will do for your campaign?
Yeah, well, we're doing it as a get out the vote drive. We're trying to get enthusiasm and interest going, really to highlight the seriousness of this race, the importance of it, and to really get people motivated to turn out and vote here. You know, whether they vote by mail, whether they vote early, or whether they vote in person, we're just encouraging people to get out and vote. And I think they agree with the vision I have for the direction to take our country.
Anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to add before you run off to your next event?
We're going to be at the homecoming parade tonight, so I got to run back home, grab my kids, and then head up to the parade tonight.
I'm sure you'll see our team out there.
Oh, very good.
All
well,
right,
thank you.
So much.
Yeah.